Good afternoon, everyone. And during last class, we have discussed about photosynthesis in higher plants or in angiospermic plants. And today, we'll discuss about respiration in higher plants or respiration in plants, or introduction to respiration in plants. Respiration in plants. Respiration in plants. What is the date today? Today is 15/9/2020. 15/9/2020. Here, the lesson what we are going to discuss is respiration in plants. And we all know everything that the plants can prepare their own food material by the process called as photosynthesis. The process called photosynthesis, plants can prepare their food material. And after preparing food material, for example, let us think about the animals. After taking food material, what we require, what we get actually, we get some energy. We get some energy, means here the plants do require the energy. And here, for what? For energy, we take some food material, and by consuming that food material, we can get some energy. And here also, the plants can prepare their food material. For the by preparing the food material, by the utilization of that food material, it can make some energy, or they can develop some energy in them. And how the energy is developed inside the plants. How this energy is developed inside the plants means by a process that is called as respiration. By respiration process only, the plants and animals can prepare their energy. Means plants can prepare food material, animals can take food material from outside or depend upon plants. But taking that food material, and they have to develop the energy. Means here, let us try to understand in general what is respiration. In animals, we can simply say taking oxygen and leaving out carbon dioxide in general in animals. But here, coming to the plants, respiration in general. Respiration in general normally or simple. Here, oxidation of food material. Oxidation of food material to release energy is called respiration. Means here respiration means taking oxygen, means oxidizing the food materials, means breaking the food material with the help of oxygen to release energy. Means breaking the food material. After taking food material inside the body, that food material is to be broken to release energy. And how that food material is to be broken? Means that food material is broken by oxygen only. Means here, oxidation of food material means breaking the food material to release the required amount of energy. That is called respiration. This is simple definition, or in general, this is respiration. And here, animals can respire, or animals are having a separate or a special respiratory system. The animals can respire through nose, and they are having a respiratory system from nose to lungs. But here, how the plants do respire? plants, how these plants can respire. Are the plants having any special respiratory system? No. Plants doesn't have any special respiratory system. They doesn't have any special respiratory organs to take oxygen. Then how these plants can respire? Means the plants can show cellular respiration. The plants can show cellular respiration. How the plants are respired means plants shows cellular respiration. Plants, how the plants respire means the plants doesn't have any special respiratory system, hence they can show the cellular respiration means each and every cell of the plants are able to respire. Each and every cell in plant is able to respire. All the cells can respire. For example, this is a plant, or this is a tree, and the tree can take oxygen through roots. It can take oxygen through the stems, or epidermal tissue cells present on the stem can take oxygen and liberate carbon dioxide, and leaves can take oxygen and liberate carbon dioxide during this respiration process. Means each and every part of the plant can respire. Please do remember how the plants respire means how the plants take oxygen means they can respire from each and every part of the body. Each and every cell of the plant body can respire easily. They doesn't possess any special respiratory system. Hence, they can take oxygen by each and every part. Now, means the plant shows cellular respiration. Now, let us see what is this cellular respiration. Respiration in plants means here plants shows cellular respiration. The breaking of carbon-carbon bonds, or the breaking of carbon-carbon substances, breaking of carbon-carbon bonds of carbohydrates. The breaking of carbon-carbon bonds of carbohydrates by oxidation within the cell breaking of carbon-carbon bonds of carbohydrates by oxidation within the cell to release considerable energy. Considerable energy is called respiration or cellular respiration. Cellular respiration means the breaking of carbon-carbon bonds of carbohydrates by oxidation within the cell to release a considerable amount of energy or a required amount of energy, and this process occurs within the cell of a plant, hence this is called as cellular respiration. And here in this cellular respiration, the substances which participate in the cellular respiration or the substrate which participate in the cellular respiration are called as substrates of this respiration. Now, Here, the substances which participate in oxidation or respiration. Oxidation or respiration are called respiratory substrate. Respiratory substrates are called respiratory substrates. Here, glucose molecules or sucrose or starch, whatever it may be. For example, glucose molecules or sucrose molecules or starch, whatever it may be. These are called respiratory substrates, and these glucose molecules are broken down to release energy. The sucrose molecules are broken down to release energy, and these starch material or starch is broken to release the required energy or considerable energy, and this process is called as respiration. And the substrates that participate in the respiration are called as respiratory substrates. They are called respiratory substrates. Now let us see the overall reaction of respiration. Here, the plants prepare their food. Once again, we'll recall the reaction of that photosynthesis. Yeah, in the photosynthesis, CO2 plus 12H2O in the presence of light and chlorophyll and C6H12O6 plus 6H2O plus 6O2 are released in photosynthesis process. Now coming on to this is the food material that is prepared by the plant body. Means this is the glucose molecule that is prepared inside the plant body, and this glucose molecule is broken down to prepare energy. This glucose molecule and this glucose molecule is broken down to prepare energy in plants. And let us see how this glucose molecule is broken down to release energy in the process called respiration. Now, take this glucose molecule here, the overall reaction of respiration. Let us see. Here, this is the glucose molecule. C6H12O6 is the glucose molecule, and this is oxidizing, means 6O2, and this is now it is oxidizing to release the energy, means 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus the energy is released. How much amount of energy means it is approximately 686 kilocalories of energy is released, and this is the overall reaction of respiration. Here, respiration means breakdown of carbohydrates or breakdown of carbon compounds. Here is a carbon compound. Here the glucose molecule C6H12O6 is a carbon compound, and it is broken by oxidation within the cell. It is broken means addition of oxygen molecule or addition of 6 oxygen molecules to the one carbon or one carbohydrate or glucose molecule to release 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 6 molecules of water and H2O or water, and the considerable energy means 686 kilocalories of energy is released by oxidation of one glucose molecule. how much energy is released by the oxidation of a single glucose molecule means 686 kilocalories of energy is released by the oxidation of one glucose molecule. By the oxidation of one glucose molecule, 686 kilocalories of energy is released. Energy is relieved. And this is about the outline of cellular respiration in plants. In photosynthesis, we all know that plants are autotrophs. They can make food material. Means what kind of food material they make means they develop means here starch material or glucose material. This glucose molecule, it was prepared in the photosynthesis, is broken down in the respiration process to release some energy or considerable energy or required energy is released by the breaking of this glucose molecule, which is prepared in the photosynthesis process inside the plants. Now, and within this respiration in plants, we have to remember one thing that is called as respiratory. Means here, the respiration process not simply occurs. This respiration process occurs by two types of reactions which have several steps. And what are they means? Respiration occurs by means release of energy or oxidation of glucose molecule occurs by the oxidation of glucose molecule occurs by glycolysis and next Krebs cycle. By these two processes, the complete oxidation of glucose molecule occurs. The complete oxidation of glucose molecule occurs and release of energy occurs. This is a respiration process in plants requires this glycolysis and Krebs cycle. And glycolysis and Krebs cycle, the combination of these two, the complete oxidation of glucose molecule occurs to release energy. And here in this respiration, we have to remember one more process that is called respiratory quotient. One more process that is called respiratory quotient. Respiratory process you should understand that is called respiratory quotient. And what do you mean by respiratory quotient means here the amount of CO2 evolved during the respiration to the amount of oxygen utilized or consumed in the respiration. Here the amount of CO2 evolved to the amount of oxygen consumed during the respiration. Is called respiratory quotient. It can be shown by like this. Respiratory quotient is equal to CO2 evolved by amount of oxygen consumed or oxygen utilized. Now let us see the respiratory quotient of glucose molecule or a carbohydrate. Now let us see the respiratory quotient of a glucose molecule or a carbohydrate. For example, this is a C6H12O6 plus 6O2. It is 6CO2 plus 6H2O and plus energy is released. Energy is released and let's see respiratory quotient. Respiratory quotient is equal to the amount of CO2 evolved. How much amount? Here 6 CO2 is evolved means amount of CO2 evolved means 6 CO2 by the amount of O2 consumed. Oxygen, how much amount of oxygen? 6 O2 is consumed. Therefore, what is the respiratory quotient of glucose molecule or a carbohydrate? 1 is the respiratory quotient of a carbohydrate or a glucose molecule. Now, one more thing you have to remember, which comes in your syllabus, the respiratory quotient of protein or respiratory quotient of complete oxidation of protein is less than 1 means 0.9, and the respiratory quotient of a fatty acid that is 0.7. What is the fatty acid? Means tripalmitin. These are the three values of respiratory quotients you have to remember according to your syllabus. The respiratory quotient of a glucose molecule or the respiratory quotient of complete oxidation of glucose molecule is 1. The respiratory quotient of complete oxidation of any protein is 0.9, and the respiratory quotient of complete oxidation of a fatty acid, for example, palmitin, is 0.7. These are the things you should remember according to your lesson called respiration and plants. Now, and this is about the introduction of respiration in plants. Now, let us see some introduction, or let us see some points about plant growth and development. How the plants can grow and how the plants can develop their branches and the fruits and the flowers. And whatever the points I am writing on board, you should write in a notebook, and please maintain the notebook very clearly till your offline classes begins. Later I checked out all your notebook and all the notes whatever I wrote on the blackboard. Now, plant growth and development. Let us see what is plant growth means. Here, increase in mass or increase in number of cells. That is nothing but the plant growth. And here is this plant growth. How the plants can grow means and this is. Let us take it is a seed. And under favorable conditions, Under favorable conditions means the plants are able to get required, or if a seed, this is a seed, now this is first, it is a seed, first of all, the seed, and seeds can germinate, means you all know that seeds can give rise to new plants, means how the seeds can germinate or how the seeds can give a new plant, means under favorable conditions only the seeds can germinate. The favorable condition means the required or suitable conditions for a seed to germinate, that are called favorable conditions. Means under favorable conditions means under required amount of moisture and water, moisture nothing but water, required amount of moisture and required amount of oxygen or gases, and the required amount of food materials, and the required amount of these conditions, the plants can or the seeds can germinate. Here the seeds are having two parts, and here plumule and radicle. The seeds during the germination and at the beginning, under favorable conditions, the portion which grows above the ground level, that is called plumule of the seed, and the portion which moves to the soil or into the soil, that is called radicle. Then the radicle, the plumule becomes into aerial shoot system. The plumule transforms into aerial shoot system, and this radicle develops into underground root system. It develops into underground root system. Underground root system. The plumule can grow above the ground level and it becomes to aerial shoot system, means it will develop like this. And as this radicle develops into underground root system, and the cartilagens which are in touch with these plumule and radicle be removed after the development of this plant. And this is in general about the plant growth and development. And for this plant growth and for the growth of the plant or for the development of the plant, some of the minerals are required. And so that comes under the mineral nutrition in the plants. And if it gets more or required amount of all the mineral nutrients, it can show a healthy growth. And if it is receiving a good sun or a good amount of sunlight or solar energy, it can show a tremendous growth or a fast growth. Under favorable condition, it can show a healthy growth and getting minerals and sunlight. It shows a growth and development. And in general, the plants, for the growth and development of plants, there are some growth regulators are there. Growth regulators are there. By those growth regulators, and the plants can show growth. Growth regulators. Regulators means which balances the growth of the plant. Means, for example, there are two types of plant growth regulators. One, plant growth promoters or growth promoters, and second one, growth inhibitors. Second one, growth inhibitors. Growth promoters and growth inhibitors. And growth promoters means which increase the growth of the plant body, and the growth regulators means which decreases the parts or which decreases the parts or growth of the parts of the plant body. Means here, whenever The plant growth promoters, which promotes the growth, which helps the plants to grow, or which helps our growth promoters, helps the plants to develop flowers and fruits or seeds or branches or whatever it may be. And the growth inhibitors, and they can reduce the growth of some parts of the plant body. For example, some old plants or old parts of the plant body should be removed from the plant, and this removal activity is done by these growth inhibitors. They are plant growth promoters, auxins, gibberellins, and cytokinins. And there are two growth inhibitors. And what are those growth inhibitors? Means ethylene, abscisic acid, and these are the 5 growth regulators, and these 5 growth regulators are divided into 2 types of growth promoters, which increases the growth, and growth inhibitors, which decreases the growth. And auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins are the growth promoters. Ethylene, abscisic acid are the growth inhibitors. And let us, in the next class, we will discuss about these auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, not in detail. On outline, we will discuss about all these growth regulators. Thank you.